Hello, everyone. So, I had this morning before going to work, I put all the pins in flip side in here and got it pinned up. And the key pins I was put in, and I was getting ready to do the Everest lock portion of the lock, and I didn't have enough time. So I said, you know what? When I get home, I'll do it. So I got home and I sat here and I pinned it back up with the key pins. And steel pinnings told me as a tip, you can use the key to help hold this pin down. And whenever I put that spring, that one spring that was bouncing around in that one video, this little spring right here, whenever I put him in there, there's a huge amount of pressure. And I thought, okay, and you put the key in, and yeah, it'll hold it, lock it in there. All right. So I go and I put the core back into the body of the lock, and it's tight. It's like there's something wrong. And I know it wasn't that way when I got it, and it's not the pins. I was very careful with the top pins, and so I had shimmed it both times when I put it in there, and there's still a shim sticking in there. So I disassembled it, and I looked at the lock, and this is what I have done. This spring does not belong to that Everest lock. If there is a little spring that belongs to that lock, I don't know where it went during the disassembly. It's not hiding in there that I can tell. And this spring is the one for the detent back here in the back of the lock. That's where that spring goes. That's why it was so strong and powerful. And what it was doing was, with the key in there, the spring pressure was so strong that it was actually pushing the key out enough to bind the core, just like a shear line. See, normally it's real smooth in here. But if you get a strong enough spring pressure at the very end of the lock, like this one was, you'll wind up with that situation. So I knew I had screwed up in some way, and it wasn't it wasn't that way when I took it apart. So that's what it was. And now I'm faced with the dilemma of trying to improvise a spring, which I have a Bic lighter, and different type of lighter springs. You can cut the coils off and make a little tiny one, or I can wait for steel pinnings to decide what he wants me to do with this. Either way, this one's on standby mode right now. I could try to improvise something and see if it works, but there you go. That's just a little heads up on, when you're running into new things that you've never seen before and never done, you have to learn, the hard way sometimes. But yeah, getting it past that spring, it was like, oh, okay, it's in there. And yeah, the key wasn't going anywhere when it was in there. It was good. And I tried, hold my finger on it and pull it back, and yeah, it would work, but it was like really grabbing it. So then when I put it back, the lock back together, like I said, it was really binding and not at all smooth, and I knew that that lock was not that way when I got it. So there you go. That's my little story on that. Oh, and I wanted to show you one other thing I got in. I ordered these from Sparrows. It's the SS Devs in 15,000s. I really like the profiles of these, and they look kind of, like they're flimsy and everything, but they feel very strong on the up and down, which is what you would need, because we're not going to torque them too much. And I really like the profiles. I had a toss-up whether to get the standard SS Devs and 25,000s or the 15,000. I thought, you know what, Euro profile, a lot of times 15,000s, you're going to need that to get past wardings and stuff like that. So go with those first. But I got that, and I got one other thing from my, I got something that I was going to do on my, oh yeah, it's sitting over here. I got this lock-in for my 100 subscriber giveaway. I'm not taking it out of the package. This is the way it comes. There's only like a slight little ding on the plastic that I can see on it. But it's another one of those Ace hardware padlocks. I'm going to give that one away. And I'll try to get some more goodies. I'm going to have a little box and start putting stuff in there. And we'll get to that. But there you go. I hope to pick something here eventually. And I'll try to get this lock straightened out. But I hope everyone's doing well. And it's a Friday night here and beginning of the weekend. And I feel pretty good.